Am I audible? Welcome to the Book Talk, presented by the Book Wishes Club. A record-breaking athlete, inspiring military leader, and world-class personal trainer. Is it possible for all these qualities to be in a single person? Yes, it is. And today we will be talking about that person, and his name is David Goggins. He is the toughest man alive on the earth till date. And today we will be knowing about his life story from the book called Can't Hurt Me, which is his autobiography in a sense. And welcome to the episode 7 of the Book Talk. Dear audience, are you excited to dive into this book today? Of course, yes. So today we have with us our another esteemed guest who is an educator, a trainer, and also a hospitality professional, Mr. Ratindra Singh.
Hello, nice to be here. I come from a hospitality background, as she mentioned, and I've been let's say a reader for quite some time. I did my schooling in Lucknow, so there we had a library class every week. So our environment was created where we had to read, and we had to indent books from the school and take it to our hostel and read it in a week's time and return it. So that is how I got into the habit of reading. Initially it was all about fiction. For the past 7 to 8 years I've also been reading about motivation and self-help books and a little bit of autobiographies as well. And like she mentioned, as because now I work with a lot of young minds, I'm a teacher as well. So I think this is very, very helpful in my teaching life as well, and also my corporate life.
So we have a short rapid fire round now. Are you ready for it?
Okay, that's a pleasant surprise, but hopefully I'm ready.
Okay, let's try with this. So I will be asking you a few questions, which is obviously related to books and stuffs. So you can give one word or one-liner answers to it.
Sure.
All right. So favorite book of all time and why?
I loved, like I said, I love fiction, and my favorite book is the Da Vinci Code, because it, the suspense was so great. It kept me up all night, and when we say things like you can't stop reading once you start, so it was one of those kind of books.
Okay. What do you prefer, electronic book or physical book?
I prefer physical book because from the beginning I've been reading physical books. So yeah.
So do I. What is your favorite reading spot?
My bedroom, I would say.
All right. One book you think everyone should read?
The one I'm going to talk about today, Can't Hurt Me.
Okay, definitely. Most memorable character from any book?
It's actually from a comic. I used to read Tintin as a child, and I find Captain Haddock very, very entertaining, I would say.
A genre you haven't explored but want to?
I haven't read much of, let's say, the religious books. So that's something I want to get into, yes.
Okay. Book that made you cry, if any?
Love Story by Eric Segal.
Okay. Which one is that? The name of the book is Love Story?
Yes.
Okay. Author you would love to have dinner with?
Jeffrey Archer. I think he's Sir Jeffrey Archer right now. So he's been knighted. Yeah.
Okay. So do you remember or recall any book of his?
Yes, I was in the 10th standard and I was reading Cain and Abel at that time, and I was quite mesmerized, the intricacies, the details that he had about the story. So after that I've read a lot of Jeffrey Archer.
Okay. So most underrated book you have ever read?
I think that's also David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, because it's not a run-of-the-mill book. It's very different, and I was expecting this book to be kind of autobiographical, but it's actually
Mm-hmm.
a book where the reader is the center of the book,
All
and
right.
that's who he's trying to help. Yeah.
Okay, that's a new thing. So, if you were stranded on an island, which are the three books you would bring with you, like you would want to have with you?
Any book by Jeffrey Archer,
Mm-hmm.
Ken Follett, and Dan Brown.
Okay. Uh, any book that you would want to see that turned into a TV series that you want to see on a regular basis?
Um, One of the last suspense books I read was Verity,
Uh-huh.
and if that can be turned into a series or a movie, that would be great.
Okay, so last question. If you were a book, what would your title be and why?
Um, Quite a difficult question. Uh, so again, I think I can go with the comics of Tintin again, because the characters are very lifelike and they are full of life, and it's mostly a very entertaining scenario. So yeah, Tintin.
Okay, that's lovely. So now let's dive into the David Goggins book,
Yeah.
Can't Hurt Me. And I quite much like that line that he gives, master your mind and defy the odds.
Right.
So do you really believe that by mastering our mind can we defy the odds in reality?
Yes, I agree with that, and the heading of the book or the title of the book is quite self-explanatory. So when he's saying "can't hurt me," is like once you read this book, you realize this person has gone through a lot of hardships, a lot of difficulties in life, and he has had a lot of struggle. But once he realized that he could callous his mind, and nothing could affect him, that pushed him, or that elevated him to heights of greatness. And then he realized, once he could control his mind, or uh, and for anything at all, like even if it was any kind of a physical activity like running many miles. So he realized that more than the physical, it was the mindset that he had to create. He had to create a mindset where he could think that he could do it, and then that's what was going to propel him to cover those miles. So yeah, I fully agree that if you're able to create the mindset, or mental toughness, then yes, you are able to achieve many things.
So, having said this, like you said, that he had gone through a very abusive kind of childhood in the past, that, as he mentions in the book, like violence he had seen in his family and bullying and all of these negative things that he had been through. So that is, I think, a fuel that pushed him to become a better version of himself. But mostly in most of the cases in reality, I've also seen that those people who have had such kind of past, they try to make themselves better in the future.
Right.
But to the people who are having very average kind of lifestyle, do you think this still does apply to that kind of people in the society?
Yeah, I think it applies to everyone and in every different kind of situations, because not only this book, recently, I'm sure, I'm not sure if you've watched that movie also, 12th Fail.
Yes, I
So
did.
it's very popular movie, and it's very similar kind of circumstances where this protagonist, what his background was, and with the author here, what his background was. They had very difficult upbringing, very limited resources, but they were committed, they were driven, and like he emphasizes, uh, so one of the first thing he emphasizes in the first chapter is, like, life will deal you very a difficult hand, and that's like taking something out of a game of cards like poker. You get two cards, and those two cards may not be very good, but the poker game continues. You have your river and the other card and the other card, so it's a total of 5 cards. So even if initially your 2 cards were not so strong, but what you're going to turn later on, that can actually turn out to be the winning cards. So Yeah, even with the limited resources, even with difficult situations, you can always, with your commitment, with your desire, and with a strong mindset, you can achieve great things.
So, as I went through the book thoroughly, that I saw that there are 11 chapters in it, and it starts with his childhood that we are recently talking about. But I also wondered that if he had not been through tough times in his childhood, would he be the same person like he is now? What do you think?
Yes, that's a very good question, and I think that relates to, we have this discussion about motivation also. Like, does motivation inspire success, or you achieve a little bit of success and that motivates you to do even better? So I think in this book, what he's emphasizing is that, once you start something, once you commit to something and you start, once you see a little bit of progress also, I think that's a great motivator. So I would like you mentioned, I would say that, being from that background, being from that difficulty that he came through, that was a great igniter for him to do such things, and that was a motivator for him. Yeah.
All right. So, dear audience, if you are wondering what we are actually talking about and where does this all things come from, let me tell you that this book contains 11 chapters where the writer mentions 11 challenges that he would like us readers to accept and follow in our lives so that we can prosper ourselves and be the better version of ourselves. But what actually are those challenges and what's inside of those things and how can we attain it? Let's hear from the reader himself.
Yeah, so this book is very, very in your face, and as a person also, Mr. David Goggins is very in your face. So his way of motivation is not sugar coated at all. So he would in fact be just the opposite, and we talk a lot about how to not accept mediocre or not to accept average, and you have this person who would not even accept greatness. He would say that you can achieve even more. So one of the concepts that I liked in this book is when he says that whatever you are doing right now is probably 40% of what you are actually able to do, and you have the potential to do 60% more, and I think that that's a driving factor for him also. So yeah, so the book comes at you as like coming at you very strongly, and motivating you in a very different way. And then the other thing I liked about this book is that at the end of every chapter, he puts a challenge, like you mentioned, and it's a challenge to you to improve yourself. It's a challenge for you to reflect on yourself. What are the things you are doing well? What are the things you are not doing so well? Where are you wasting your time, you think? Where can you use that time productively? And so in a summary, how to use your time productively and not make excuses, and stand up for yourself. So yeah, in that sense, the other thing I liked about this book is that it's not about his autobiography. Yeah, he does mention his story as in, like, how underprivileged he was and what he was able to do. But this book is more about the reader. It's about you and how you can achieve greatness as well.
That's actually something I perceived as well. I took it as an autobiography, but it was good to hear from you that it's actually not.
Right.
So one chapter, the title that captivated me was The Cookie Jar.
Right.
So would you like to elaborate, like, what's inside of the cookie jar?
So yeah, that again is a mental thing. What he emphasizes with the cookie jar is that you have to set yourself goals. You set yourself goals, and and it's one step at a time. So one of the common traits I share with the author is that he also went on to become an endurance runner. So and one of the interesting things when I saw one of his podcasts was that the interviewer was talking to him, and he was talking about, okay, so I hear that you run for hours, and David Goggins turns around and says days.
Okay.
So one thing I share with him is that I'm a runner myself. Last year I was able to complete a marathon, which is very small compared to like what he is able to achieve. He's run 205 miles, which is almost the distance of going to Pokhara and coming back. But before reading this book, this is what I had practiced also, and that's what he's teaching in this book, is that you have to take it one step at a time. So you cannot look at it as like, if you're running a marathon, if you look at it as 42 kilometers, then that becomes very, very daunting. But if you break it into, okay, I'm going to run a kilometer, and then I'm going to run another kilometer, and then I'm going to run another kilometer, then you are breaking up, those goals into realistic goals, and you are able to achieve that. And obviously, in your mind, you have that, when I achieve that, what is the the cookie going to be, or what is it that I'm going to get from the cookie jar?
Okay, so it's basically about the mental resilience thing.
Exactly, yeah.
All right. So as you mentioned just a few moments ago that you share that common trait with the writer.
Right.
So whenever we share something common, it feels a kind of connection, right?
Yes.
So is that the reason you chose to read this book, or what was your motivation or intention to read this book? Why did you choose it?
Okay, so that was exactly my reason for choosing this book. So I took up running about 10 years ago. And then, so another author I like very much is Mr. Robin Sharma. And then what I learned from him was that whenever you are passionate about something, or whenever you are inclined to do something, you have to grow that awareness. So when I say awareness, means like if I like running, then I need to study running. I need to learn about running. I need to follow runners. I need to read about running, so that I don't get injured, or so that I don't get hurt, and I become more productive. So in doing these kind of in doing this kind of research, I fell upon David Goggins. So obviously, first I saw some videos of him, and then some Instagram posts of him, and I realized that this person is basically a beast, and what he is able to achieve. So yeah, it was with my, let's say, a little bit of a passion for running that got me interested in reading this book.
Okay. So when you talked about this increasing awareness things, it's actually what you did was mastering your mind about running. Right.
So yeah, so feeding myself about running, so know about running, because if I just say running, it might seem like you put on your t-shirt, shorts, running shoes, and you go out running. But when you actually get interested in running, and you see these videos, then you learn things about, like how to prevent injuries, what is the form that you have to use for running. How many kilometers you are actually supposed to use your running shoes for, and then change it. How do you fuel yourself for running? Because nowadays it's a lot about people going into gyms, and they eat a lot of protein, but running is the other way around. Like we need more carbohydrates than protein, because we need to fuel our runs. And then how do we hydrate during running? So there's a lot of learning that has to be done when you have to when you take in like endurance sports as well. So you fall upon books like this, which are very, very useful.
So basically this applies to any field that we want to dive inside. Like whenever we want to go, first we need to know the complete information about this thing.
Yes,
So
I
that's
agree. Like,
basically
yes, that's one very, very important this thing that I took from Mr. Robinson. I would say
Okay.
that whatever you are interested in, you have to grow your awareness around it. Whether it be sports, whether it be academics, whether it be any new interest like photography or arts, so you have to grow your awareness around it. And once you are aware, you will start researching about that subject, and once you research that about that subject, you become more proficient, you learn more, and you are more ready to take on that.
Yes, so we basically master our minds to defy the
Yes,
odds.
yes.
So one instance I would like to share you that we face normally in the societies and in our everyday life, that if something good that we achieve and we want to celebrate it, so the credit of the good things or achievements we give it to ourselves, basically,
Right.
a human nature. If something goes wrong, we always tend to blame like either environment or society or something. But one contradictory thing that I found David Goggins mentioning in the book is that he tells take the blame on yourself. Whatever the blame of failure, you take it on yourself and take that responsibility. So what point of view do you have on his statement about this?
Yeah, I agree with that statement also, because like I said, he is all the time very much on your face, and anything negative you speak, or anything any kind of excuses he give, he'll just point that out to you, like not trying to fat shame or anything. So if he says if you are trying to lose weight but you are not losing weight, then he will probably tell you something like, you're just lazy, that's why you're not losing weight. And I think sometimes you need that kind of motivation also. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, for anything that you want to achieve, that anything that you want to do, you are responsible for that. And just like I said about awareness also, so if you are trying to lose weight, then you need to study a little bit about nutrition, you need to know a little bit about exercise. Even stress can be reason for gaining weight, or not getting enough sleep can be a reason for gaining weight. So you have to be responsible for all of these things. And I think he emphasizes that very well, that whatever you are trying to do, positive or negative, you are responsible. If you are not getting the result you are wanting, probably you are not working hard enough, or you are taking shortcuts. And that's another aspect of this book, is like he never encourages taking shortcuts. You have to follow through on everything that you want to do.
So yes, in my back of the mind, your statement was running that you called him like he is a beast. So I recall that instance where he was trying for I guess Navy SEAL.
Yes.
And he wanted to get enrolled in that, and he had made 3 attempts in around 18 months.
Right.
So what do you think pushes a person to that limit? Because that was not only about physical strength. He also talks about a very tough mindset.
Right.
So how can a person maintain such persistence or consistency throughout such a long duration of time? Like, what do you think drives that person to it?
Right. So I think you've used the word itself, persistent and consistency. So because I'm a runner, so I'll quote another elite runner, Elite Kipchoge from Kenya. So he was the previous world record holder for a marathon, and he's the only person who has run the marathon in less than 2 hours.
Okay.
So he says only the person who is disciplined is free, technically. So I think once you are disciplined into achieving something, I think that's even more important than motivation. Okay, because motivation can take you, let's say a few steps, but once you have the discipline, that's what's going to actually convert into success. So, um, yeah, you definitely need the encouragement, but like we were talking about the other movie, 12 failures, it's also the same thing, he fails first time, he fails the second time,
Yes.
but something uh, keeps pushing him, so I think you have to have something in your mind that's pushing you as well. Like for example, I'll give you when I first ran my first marathon. So I wanted it to be like a tribute to my parents, because both my parents have passed away. So when that was running in my mind, that I'm running this marathon for my parents, then nothing could stop me, because there's love, there is respect, there is that the remembrance. So that kind of I think triggers also is something that you need, and I think these people, they have these kind of triggers that inspire them to, like, even with so many failures, they hope to achieve whatever they are trying to achieve.
So it's basically about discipline in your brain,
Yes,
rather than in the physical body.
right. So and that's what he talks about in the book as well, and the word he uses is kalos, and how you have to kalos your mind to take in pain or difficulties, challenges, and and be able to respond to it to your best ability.
So there's this very weird topic inside, I would say weird, inside of the book, that says the uncommon against the uncommon. So what does this actually mean inside of the chapter?
Okay. So on this, I would let's say speak from my perspective. Okay. So one of the things that I'm inspired by is, like, very common people doing extraordinary things. So if you look at my Instagram feed or my Facebook, the people I follow are like, there's this person who has Down syndrome, and he was able to do the Ironman. There's this lady who has autistic syndrome, and she's able to run a marathon. So I think what Mr. Goggins is talking about is, like, we're not very extraordinary, but we are capable of doing extraordinary things, right? And how do you find the uncommon in the uncommon is, like, you take it a one step further every time that you are doing something. For example, if you want to get fit and you're starting an exercise program, then let's say you're able to do 10 push-ups, then what you have to, again, this is colossing your mind, is that okay, you've got to do the 11th one, you got to do that one more. Same with running. If you plan to run 5 kilometers today, when you complete that 5, go for that extra 1 kilometer. So that's how you build endurance, that's how you improve yourself, and that's how you kind of you're pushing your limits every time.
Okay, so it's basically about 1+ mentality.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
we try to do one more each
One
time.
more. Yes. So one more repetition of whatever you're trying to do, and that's going to propel you to do even better.
Okay. Now going into another chapter that says taking souls.
Right.
The chapters sound like quite metaphoric and very difficult to understand by the words itself. So how would you like to explain what's inside of it?
Okay. So just to emphasize, like, what I think when authors write or songwriters write, we have our own interpretation of what they are trying to say, and with this podcast, that's what I'm trying to do, is say what I understood from his book. So with taking souls, what he's trying to say is, prove them wrong, and what that means is, let's say you are at your work and your boss doesn't like the product you are giving him or her, or the reports that you are providing, or the inputs that you are giving. So instead of taking that as, let's say, criticism, or not liking that, or taking that as an insult, you should motivate yourself to do better, and work harder, give them a better product, give them a better report, show that you are more committed, so that they know when they push you, this person is going to respond in a even better way, and he or she is going to work even harder, and he or she is going to put even more effort. So and in the book, that's what it was like. The Navy SEAL training, or the Army Ranger training, they're very, very difficult people. Yeah, we've seen movies also. They make your life very, very difficult. So how you used to respond was that, the more difficult they made it, the more effort he put, and so he was taking the instructor's soul, is what he's trying to emphasize. Yeah.
Okay,
So we can do that in our corporate life, we can do that in our student life. If the teacher is not impressed with your, let's say, assignment or your homework, then you need to put in more effort, and give a better assignment next time, or a better homework next time. So then you are taking their soul.
Alright, so that's basically what taking the soul means.
Yes.
Now I get it. So in his case, David Goggins, as per the story goes about his life story, he had not always dreamt of being into a Navy SEAL or Army leader. He was like, as he mentions, a very normal person who would do a very small job of killing the cockroaches actually in the houses. So how does a person get that insight or instinct of that, now this is not my life, I'm going to do something better? As a reader, what did you find that, what pushes him to do that, or become better?
Right. So I think, everybody in their life, they're looking for a better life. They are looking for a purpose in life, and they are looking to better be a better version of themselves all the time. So personally also, I've seen in my family, in my friends, where failure has triggered something in them, where they've just transformed their lives. Or sometimes you could be sitting alone in a room, and something triggers in your mind as to, okay, I think I'm wasting my life, and I think I need to do better, and they just transform themselves. A similar thing has happened to me when I was traveling by train. Something happened in my mind, and so from that day onwards, it's been 26 years, I'm a vegetarian. So I think it's your calling, or it's something that is very purpose driven, and something triggers in your mind. So same thing with this author. So he was also not sure where his life was getting into, and so one of the chapters he talks about is, you have to get out of your comfort zone, or you have to get out of the comfortable life. And I think that was what was his trigger. So he wanted to get out of that, the comfort zone, and achieve something which very few people are able to pass out of, which is doing the Navy SEALs training.
But despite of having come from different, very poor kind of background and very abusive background, and trying something that he had never thought that he would be doing in his life, and failing it not once but more than that, and not only in terms of Navy SEAL training, he had also, I heard, that failed in the Guinness World Record.
Yes.
While he was attempting.
Right.
So this sounds very actually odd, and almost impossible for someone to hold that tough mindset for such a long period of time.
Right.
So have you felt that, or have you actually implied that in your life as well, or does that actually work?
Yeah. So in a lot of motivational books or these self-help books, we learn that we need failures in our life as well, and failure can be a stepping stone to success. So that's what he's talking about also. If everything is going great, or if everything is going according to plan, then you might not be motivated as much. So sometimes you need failure as that catalyst. As you were talking about, so he was trying to get this Guinness Book record of doing so many pull-ups in 24 hours, which is very, very challenging. So after many attempts, he was able to get that record, and I think it's still his record. I think he did about 4,030 pull-ups in 24 hours. So he used failure as a motivator. So we can use that in our life as well.
So what is one of those chapters that truly touched your soul? Like, this is something I have to apply in my life.
I think I would talk about both these instances that I just spoke about. Is one that you have to get out of your comfort zone. After having watched that movie as well, 12 Fail, you realize that to some extent, or to a large extent, we are quite privileged. We have all these resources, and we have all these abilities, and we have all things set up for us, and we are still not able to maximize it or use it to their full potential, or take the full benefit of whatever is available to us. And here we have these people who have so less resources, so less contacts, or persons who can help them, or even economically they are quite struggling, but they are able to achieve so much. So we need to get out of this comfort zone to be able to achieve whatever we are trying to achieve. And the other part is to learn from failure, and not take it in a negative way, and see what all the mistakes that we made, and see how we can improve, and see how we can become a better version of ourselves.
All right. So earlier we discussed about the importance of discipline and how he had applied it in his life. There are some instances where it is said that he always makes his bed like it's like a military does,
Right.
even at homes, and shaves his hair every day. So what is that one thing, or one or few things in your everyday life that you always maintain discipline?
Okay, so I actually have been able to, in the last I would say 5 years, maintain discipline in quite a few of these things, and they are very, very similar. Okay. And I think that's very important also. I'm sure you've heard of that speech. I think it was one of the Navy commanders, or who had made that. It's very popular on YouTube, about how you have to make your bed. So that at least if everything goes wrong on that day, first thing you do is you make your bed, so that if everything that has to go wrong goes wrong on that day, at least when you come back to your room at night, your bed is well made. So the same concept with trying to do anything, like for example, if I want to be a consistent runner, then I have to be disciplined in the sense that come winter, rain, or summer, I have to get out of bed and run regularly. So a couple of things that I've become disciplined about is, one, I make sure that I brush my teeth before sleeping. Do that consistently every day. I make my bed every day in the morning, and I make sure I run at least 2 to 3 times a week.
All right. Yes. So it's the small thing that matters.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
So let's discuss a little about the title itself, Can't Hurt Me.
Right.
Do you really think it's possible for a person to not get hurt at any instance in life?
I would say
emotional beings after all.
Yes, I mean, we would get hurt, but you know, a lot of these things are taught in Buddhism as well, and other spiritual readings as well. Is you know, you should not get affected by external. It could be your own external dialogues, or it could be many external factors. So if you're able to, again, taking his word, close your mind where you are not affected by all these external things, then it is possible that you do not get affected. So basically, when he says "can't hurt me," he's basically saying, you cannot affect me. Like, you shout, you throw your anger at me, or you throw your difficult task at me, or you put me in a difficult position, or take everything away from me, but you still cannot hurt me. So I think, yeah, it's possible if you train your mind like that.
All right. So when we master our mind, it kinds of create a shield around us.
Exactly. That's very well put. Yeah, that's very well put.
All
yeah.
right.
So you just create a shell around yourself, and you're
set
not
boundaries.
distracted or
Yes.
affected by anything that's happening outside. Yeah.
So while reading it, like you said, that after the end of every chapters, he has mentioned some challenge.
Right.
So how was your experience of reading it? Like, did you feel like I'm going to accomplish all of these challenges, or how did you feel?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is very, very, basic. So he's not setting out very, like, out of these world challenges. It's a very basic challenges, like, for example, writing down, what are your fears, or writing down what is limiting you, or why are you not able to achieve something, or what you're trying to do. And as long as you are being honest, as long as you're being truthful, as long as you are outlining those reasons correctly, then it becomes very, very easy for you to address what is the actual reason you are having these challenges, and then you can work on it. Yeah.
So what was that one challenge that actually made you get out of the bed and let's do it?
So do you mean my one challenge, or?
No, it's like from these chapters. While reading, what I feel like is some other self-help books,
Right.
from my experience, whenever I read the books, and if there's something that's instructions are given and I want to do it right now while reading it, so it feels like, as a reader, we feel that whatever is written there, let's follow this, let's try this.
Right.
So out of these challenges, if there is any, like, what was that challenge that actually pushed you out of the bed and, okay, let's try it?
What I would say is, like, what was the challenge that was like eye-opening for me was, like I mentioned, what he says is, be honest with yourself, and try to ask yourself, okay, what are my fears, what is it that is not letting me achieve what I'm trying to achieve. And what you're going to realize is, if you're honest, then the reason you are giving is it actually a valid reason, or you are just trying to make an excuse, for example, if I'm saying I cannot get out of bed to go to run because I'm very tired, I came home at 11 o'clock last night. So for a person like Mr. Goggins, that would be an excuse and not a valid reason. So yeah, so accepting responsibility and being accountable to yourself, I think that's the most important challenge that I see in this book.
So let's talk about the truth of our society. As you might have also noticed that when we try to do some things in our life, there are many factors that limit us. But one of the most limiting factors in every individual's life is that we always think what others think of us, what others will say, what are people going to say about us. But then sometimes we actually realize that people don't have much time to think about us every time. But it's us who is overthinking that and trying to limit ourselves because of others. So similar thing, David Goggins says that it's all in our mind.
Right.
And it never existed in real, but it's all in our mind. So have you faced any similar circumstances where this happened to you?
Yeah. So, it might sound like a cliche, but ultimately, it's your life. You have to design it. You have to live it the way you want to. So when I did my +2, it was in science, right? And the hope was to become an engineer. And I actually even enrolled in an engineering college, but after spending some time there, I kind of realized that this is not what I want to do, or I also at that time felt that I did not have the aptitude for that, and probably I would not be able to excel in this field, and I want to be in a more creative field, and so that's how I went into the hospitality sector, because I felt like it was more creative, as in with things like food preparation. So yeah, I mean, at that time also, and fortunately for me, even now, we have these kind of assumptions, like for example, I'm a CEO of a company, being a CEO of a company, you have to dress up in a certain way, or you have to drive a certain car, or you have to project yourself as such. My mode of transport is always a two-wheeler, because I'm little bit, let's say, on I emphasize on health more than anything else, because I believe, like, being healthy leads to everything else, and I think that's what COVID taught us also. Is the first thing is that you have to be alive, and then you have to be healthy, and then that's when you can do the other things. Yeah. So these things are, like you said, these are illusions. People don't have so much time to think about you. People are not thinking about you. So yeah, you have to get that out of your mind, and focus on what you want to do, and how you are going to get there, and what you need to do to achieve whatever you're trying to achieve.
That's very simple and amazing thing you said. That first thing we have to do is be alive, and then be healthy, and that leads to everything else.
Right.
Very catchy one. So as you shared early in the introduction, that you had started reading books apart from courses while you were very young, very small age. So what motivated you to develop that reading habit? Because reading is not a part of our culture anyways. So it's something that we inbuilt in ourselves, and we push ourselves to do that every single day. So how did you maintain to, or how did you motivate yourself, or what just drove you to read that book on regular basis till now?
Okay, so one thing is basically lack of resources. So growing up, so I was growing up in the 1980s. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't even, very few houses had even TVs. So it was all about playing outside. That was your entertainment. And like I said, I went to school in Lucknow. I went to La Martiniere College in Lucknow. So every week we actually had a period, like you have a science period, maths period. We have a period for libraries where you had to go to the library, and you had to pick up something and read, and they encouraged you to take the book and read it in the hostel also. So with a lot of motivation books, or books about habits, this is one thing that you learn, is that to create a habit, you have to create an environment around it. So I think that was the school's way of creating an environment for us, where we automatically felt like reading. So that's what I would say, that the environment was created where we felt like reading. Okay, so if I'm going to the library, might as well pick up a book, and in my free time, it's reading. And as children, we enjoyed stories being told to us anyway. So now it's our time to actually read the story. And in fact, one of the reasons I have let's say weak eyesight is because I was reading under the light, and I was lying down and holding the novel very close to me, and that's why I became myopic. So yeah, the environment was built in such a way where it was encouraged that we read, and we took it, we picked it up from there, and then. Once you go to the middle school, the senior school, then you start picking on fiction, and you start getting interested. Those stories are very taut, very tense, and then we also had teachers who would read us a lot of these war stories. So that got us interested to read the other book by that author. So I'm very this thing with suspense and mystery. So I used to read Agatha Christie a lot when I was in school, in middle school. Yeah.
So, out of many factors that influence you to read, one of those you said is lack of resources, which is quite unique.
Right.
Because lack of something, we always tend to, as a human, we always tend to complain about it, and we always think that's a negative side of our life. But lack of resources actually lead to something good in your life.
Yes, it can, and in my case, it definitely did. But it's also about how you are using your time productively, and how you are utilizing them. So there's a chapter regarding that in this book as well. So where we need to outline, okay, what is the amount of time I'm watching TV, what is the amount of time I'm scrolling on Facebook or social media, and what is the amount of time I'm actually utilizing productively. So and we can form a, let's say, like a summary of what our day looks like, and then highlight what are the positives and what are not so positive, and where we would like to improve, and where we need to do better. So sometimes the not having something, like we didn't have technology back then so much, then we are automatically encouraged to do other creative things, like let's say reading or art or music.
So as you talked about the segregation of time that Mr. Goggins has also mentioned, like according to him, it's he does not even want to waste a single minute of a day.
Yes.
But that actually takes a lot to bring into our practice.
Yes.
Because sometimes our sleeping hours are more or less or something like that. So while I was a child, I remember that we used to be told our day is divided into 3 parts. 3 times of 8 hours,
right.
And 8 hours is for sleeping, 8 hours for your work or studies, schools or whatever, and 8 hours for entertainment.
Right.
So I think this book somewhere falsifies this theory of 3 times of 8. What do you think about it?
And it's I think, like how you look at it, or what is it that you are trying to do as well. Like you mentioned entertainment. So even entertainment can be productive. Like for example, you can spend hours on YouTube just listening to music, or just doing a binge on Netflix, or you could use YouTube or some audiobook to summarize one of these books, and maybe that can be more helpful to you also. So I mean, everything cannot be planned, I would say. Like, for example, if you get stuck in traffic, you get stuck in traffic. If you have to travel to a destination, you have to travel to a destination. But I think, even in those instances, you can use whatever little time, that you may get to use that productively. I think very recently there was a photo that went viral where a lady was stuck in traffic and she was, I think, doing her vegetables.
Yes.
So I mean that itself is an example of how she used her that would have just been a slack time. She would have just been stranded over there, but she got out of a scooter and she was doing a spinach thing. So yeah, so even in our daily life, when we think, okay, we are stuck here, then we can be creative and or do something with that time also, and we can use that time productively as well.
So it's all about making the time productive, no matter what kind of activities we are doing.
Right. So depending on the situation, you can use that time productively because I'm sure, you don't have only like health goals. You might have financial goals, you might have health goals, you might have in a personal goals. So anything that you can work on that could be productive, I would say.
So I have this hypothetical question in my mind right now. That now we discussed about so many challenges out of 11 challenges. I think we kind of covered something about each challenge. But if you were to add any 12th challenge to this to this book, so what would that be and why?
The 12th challenge, I would say, is that now all these 11 aspects are how you can work on yourself, but I've always been a promoter of after you achieve something, what is the best way that you can help others, okay? And that is one of the reasons how I came into academics. I've worked so many years in the industry. I've worked in Nepal and I've worked abroad. So when I came back, there's this feeling in me, okay, so how do I share my experiences with the next generation of, let's say, the hospitality professionals or the managers? So, so teaching, training, that was one forum from where I could transfer whatever I had learned into the the new minds or the young minds. So that is what I would think would be the 12th challenge is, and I think this is also a very good venue for me, or this is also a very good opportunity for me to express that. Is that whatever I've learned from this book, as in challenges and how I can improve myself, if I can influence even one person to read this and be able to bring about certain kind of changes in their lives, positive changes in their lives. So I think that would be a book well read for me, or a very productive in that manner, that I was able to help somebody else as well.
So lastly, is there anything that I might have missed out to point in the chapters which you would like to recall and explain?
So one of the topics I think we have not covered, as in how I understood that instance is he talks about empowerment of failure, and it's very interesting in the sense that what he talks about in that chapter is that sometimes we don't set our goals high enough, okay? And if something is too easy to achieve, then he says that we've not set our goal correctly. The goal needs to be higher. So throughout this book, like Mr. David Goggins is trying to reach us to our 100% potential. So that also so failure sometimes can be because we did not set our bar high enough. So sometimes that also has to be the benchmark, like we need to set our benchmark quite high enough that it becomes challenging for us, and it's not like a piece of cake. It's not very easy.
So in a nutshell, if you were to approach to audience and tell them why should they read the book, then how would you be telling the audience?
Okay, so what I would be saying is that of course, like life is all about ups and downs. There will be challenges, there will be difficulties, and nothing is linear. Basically, it's not going to be like like a very calm seas. It's going to be very turbulent, but if we are prepared and if we are strong in our mindset, then we will be able to face these difficulties, very well. And the other thing is, like, we need to realize our potential. Like Mr. David Goggins says, whatever we are doing right now is probably only 40% of what we are actually able to achieve. So dig deep to find that additional 60%. And you use your time productively, and I would definitely recommend reading this book, because like I said, what I found very different about this book is that it's about you, the reader. He's not focusing on himself and his achievements, but he's giving you it's kind of after every chapter he's giving you a task that can help you to become a better version of yourself. And he's giving you very realistic assignments which you can easily achieve. So and he's holding you responsible, he's holding you accountable. So this book is very, very helpful in making a better version of yourself.
So thank you for letting our audience know why this book is important and what essence it holds in someone's life. We have a small token of love for you, as your presence is very valuable to our audience as a book reader.
Okay, actually the pleasure was mine. So it was amazing having this conversation, and I recently came to know about this podcast, and after Mr. Lokesh informed me about that, so I saw a lot of your podcasts, and very, very engaging, and very, very informative. And I think sometimes you don't even have to read the book. Not everybody would be an avid reader.
Yes.
People have different interests, but a forum like this, which can summarize what we learned from the book, would be very, very beneficial to, I'm sure, a lot of people. So from my heart, thanks for what you are doing. Very, very commendable effort, and I love being here, and wish you the best.
So here's a small token of love from our side, the Book Talk team, to you, as your presence.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So your presence is very valuable for our audience, as our motive itself is to give or to deliver audience the knowledge inside of book, which they otherwise might have not got because they do not learn the book or whatsoever. So thank you so much, Mr. Singh.
Okay, thank you for having me here. Thank you to the team. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you continue the good work, and we hope to see many more episodes like this. Thank you.
We are very grateful. All right. So before leaving, just for fun, once, if you would remember any incidents from your childhood that is always memorable to you, would you like to share?
It's this is when I was 5 years old. Okay, so I had 2 accidents. Okay. So one is that time our house was just being constructed in Maharajganj, and I was just, like I said, I was just 5 years old, and I fell from my first ceiling. I fell down, and that time we had a stone floor, and I fell on the floor because I think I was backing up on something, and my mom didn't realize, and when I fell down, they came running down, and what she told me later was that my eyes had turned backwards, and so they immediately rushed me to the hospital. So hospital at those times was Beer Hospital. Yeah. So this doctor was very, very smart, and he made an impression that he was whispering to my parents, but he was making sure that I hear it. And what he said to my parents was, I'll just ask this boy to run. If he runs, then I think that means he's fine. If he doesn't run, then I need to give him an injection. Probably something is wrong with him. So obviously I had heard it, and so I just sprint from there so to avoid the injection. So that's an event from my childhood that I don't forget. And surprisingly, nothing happened when I fell from the first floor. But then next time, I fell actually from a swing that was not even 2 feet high, and it was not even swinging at the time. I just fell. It was an awkward fall, and I actually broke my hand, and the bone came out, and I had to be plastered. So yeah, sometimes the small falls are more hard on you, and the bigger falls can be quite not so hard. It's quite a soft landing actually.
It's actually a very good lesson from your childhood experiences.
Yes.
So, dear audience, that's all for today. I hope you are equally excited as me to accept all these challenges and improve your life and become the better version of yourself. So if I were to take few words from our guest today, that would definitely be that life is not always linear. We all have ups and downs. It's not a straight line. So we have to figure out that 60% of our potential that is hidden inside of us and work for it and make the 100 out of it. So see you all in the next episode. But before that, I would like to suggest that if you want to come as a guest and join our podcast, you can go to the link below in the comment section and also comment what challenges would you like to give yourself and accept for this week to improvise yourself. So that's all for today. Thank you everyone. This is me, Saleska Sharma, signing off. See you soon again.